Welcome to the AV Church of the Immaculate Safety Theater audio papal bull number 12,981,213 Rev Q, the eternal variant. Trust the plan, so it was written in the book of Donald Trump, and the science is settled, as it was written in the book of the Karens. So, lock down all hope, ye who enter here. Watch out, and this is so it was written in the book of the Gospel of Fauci. Watch out, the UK variant is about to give you a Brazilian handed you by a Mexican and picked from a field by a Guatemalan done Sicilian style with an extra thick crust of homicidal destruction. Yes, I was referring only to COVID variants and not essential superheroes, foods, or other inanimate objects. I live in a world without people, windows, or feelings. So it was written by His Holiness Dr. Fauci. Of course, you should poop yourself. I read the New York Times today. It said so, as it was written in the Cuomo press conferences. And of course, in the Holy Book of the Karens, it says, we're looking at a South Dakota-shaped casket with 10 million people in it. The godless Swedes are flying in to join the carnage as we speak. So, B117 is real fucking bad, and it is the variant that is presently raping Florida and the Floridians, who are godless non-mask wearers as we currently speak. And that's exactly what makes the B117 variant fly over their skies and rain death upon them from 40,000 feet above. And of course, the good news is there are more variants to feed. We have the B1351 variant, and we also have the Bring Out Your Dead, more graphs that are terrifying and absolutely extremely fear-ridden devices, and you should just be afraid. For example, you can clearly see by the data that Sweden is dying off at a readily fast-paced clip that is clearly outpacing Connecticut because Connecticut does everything right and Sweden doesn't believe in science. And of course, the new variants are wreaking havoc on the nation of Malawi, which here we are obviously having less dead people than Malawi's 3.6 per 100,000 because we follow the science and we do everything right. And of course, we have the South Dakota death spiral, which continues as the consequence of the variants is taking hold and defiling our grandmas and killing everybody in sight. Boy, if we had enough holes to bury these bodies, what would we do? And of course, this is what you need to know. How to stop the mutants from defiling our women, especially grandma. We recommend whatever is painful, do that, especially if it is really, really painful and super painful, and especially if it's really uncomfortable. Of course, avoid treating anyone with respect. If you're not wearing a mask, masturbate at them. If they're only wearing one mask, call them a racist. And of course, take away aspects and elements of your life that give it purpose, fulfillment, and meaning. But, of course, not to be outdone, the worst variant is yet to come. Enter the Keurig COVID variant. Listen, it's legit if you did a search on DuckDuckGo or Google because you found it on the internet. Notice the data is in. We have searched for Keurig COVID variant, and it is apparently a thing. As you can see, all the pictures is scientific proof. The experts at DuckDuckGo have spoken. Observe their white lab coat. They have clearly all gone to medical school, just like Bill Gates did. Now, you're probably wondering why you should be afraid of the Keurig COVID variant. Well, we could never ever print enough money to pay for everyone to have coffee at $50 a pound. And so it was written in the book of the Federal Reserve. It's a real bank buster, even for us. And of course, leaving the house to enter an ergonomic hellscape just isn't enough. Your kitchen needs more sector rules. And of course, because you need to make coffee one cup at a time, just like you need to put each extra mask on one at a time. So, what do you need to know? The Keurig COVID variant, fast facts grandma is too slow to dodge or outwit. Press a button for sweet, delicious destruction, one grandma at a time. And of course, masks make perfect coffee filters, because nothing gets through them. Keurig disarms that essential line of defense. And of course, Starbucks K-Cup subs variants shows that this variant even has a bloodthirst for white grandmas or grandmas of any other race, creed, culture, or Democratic caucus. You see, even after the vaccine, it's still mutating. As we see, now that the first line of people that have gotten their first and essential super happy miracle jab trust dose jabs into their arms and their immune system's receptacle holes, they must still masturbate. For example, we have the K Classic coffee maker variant of the Keurig COVID variant. We have the K Mini Plus Single, which is still large and abnormally clunky, and we have the K Cup Supreme Single Keurig COVID variant. And all of these are running about the countryside, defiling grandmas and innocent people everywhere. So you should be afraid, of course. Wear multiple masks everywhere while you do it, especially if you're alone. And of course, outdoors, anywhere outdoors. And of course, masks are the only thing they're not recommending, but do, yes, absolutely, somewhat, kind of, absolutely not work on opposite day, which is true half of the time, depending on where the four-sided coin lands after you flip it. Of course, every day is opposite day because you are wrong and you're not a doctor or an expert. And masks clearly stop all COVIDs, including large and stupidly awkward Keurig COVIDs. Now, you can do your part. Your mask is your virtue. So, lord over, harass, and malign your neighbor. Rearrange his furniture. Put a mask on his dog. If the dog bites you, that's a sign everyone on the street has COVID. And of course, it's not good enough to tell people to leave stores, even ones you don't own or manage to work at, for not wearing a mask. You must yell at them. If you outnumber them, close that 6-foot rule. Social distancing requires you be closer than 6 feet away to yell at somebody for not wearing a mask. And, of course, don't question me or His Highness Lord Fauci. You see, my sister's cousin's ex's fourth cousin, 3 times removed, lost her best friend's sister's niece's acupuncturist to COVID. And her meridians are super screwed up as a result. And the acupuncturist was imaginary, meaning these new variants are really super contagious. And of course, people who don't just want to go out and get a haircut are not human. They're not people. They have no right, desire, or need to see family because your loss trumps their existence. So, the science is settled. As it was written in the Gospel of Fauci, models are a perfect substitute for contact tracing. Because why would we ever need to prove a model? A model in and of itself is just plain good enough on its own, especially if it promotes the faith and fear, like Holy Mother Church believes. And of course, as it was written in the Holy Book of Democrats, everyone I don't like or agree with is a super spreader. And so are their families, parties, and political events. And of course, as it was written in the Book of Lamont, there is zero connection if it seems the world doesn't look the way the fear says it should. You just haven't imagined enough mangled bodies at the COVID crime scene to make it convincing enough. So, as it was written, go forth in fear, under the Pfizer, the Moderna, and the needle. Amen. Stay afraid.